So the juice has got to be worth the squeeze. All right, so y'all know I came from Millis, right? Anybody's been following my channel, I work for Millis Transfer. They gave me my start, my opportunity to get into the business, and I learned a lot there. Well, I had to make a decision because I was trying to put myself in a position to where I could buy a house with a decent amount of land in a decent area with a decent down payment, and I wasn't quite getting what I needed at Millis. The way my runs would go there is, you'd be out 3-4 weeks at a time, and then you're home for 4 or 5 days or whatever it is, 3 days, whatever you decide. The weeks you were home, it took a hit, obviously, on your pay because you're not getting paid for those days. So you've done a great job 3 or 4 weeks out, and you really feel like you got to rush to get back on the road because every day you're not out, you're digging a hole into that bank account. So for me to stay on track and to get where I wanted to go, I wanted to see something different. So I went from Millis making 43 cents a mile over to FreightWorks, running on kind of a dedicated account. The account itself was dedicated, but it wasn't like dedicated customers where it was the same every week. So you're looking at essentially hauling the freight for the same company. It's a subsidiary for DuPont. It's paint chemicals and things like that. Making 50 cents a mile. And there was never any weight or list or anything I had to deal with as far as getting a load. More often than not, dispatch had me planned out for like 2 or 3 loads in advance. And that was all the way even through like COVID. Like I never had to wait for a load. So that was really nice. I did that for 2 months. Just over 2 months in, an opportunity presented itself within the same company. An internal posting was listed for an actual truly dedicated run, a Northeast regional run. And when people hear that, Northeast regional is but I still asked about it because the listing within the company listing said it paid 57.5 cents a mile, and you were out 5 and home for 2. And so I inquired about it, applied for it technically, just let HR know that I was interested in the role. I was chosen for that position, and here I've been since May. So the way this run works is I pick up a load at 6 p.m., drive overnight, deliver it the next morning. From there, I go pick up another load of bananas, and you've seen my banana video, in Wilmington, Delaware, and I bring that load, drive overnight, deliver that in the morning, and then when I deliver that load, I just go back to the yard and I sit and wait until that evening to pick up my other load to go back up north. And my dedicated customer is Dole. So I haul salad. It's like 16,000 pounds northbound every time. So the second leg up, I go to my stop in Pennsylvania, and then I go to my stop after that in Chester, New York. Well, from there I go down and I pick up my load of bananas, and I come back and I go home. So I'm out for 5 and I'm home for 2. And that pays 57.5 cents a mile. So you could say within a year's time frame, actually a few days shy of a year of my experience, I went from making 43 cents a mile to 57.5 cents a mile. I went from being home every 3 to 4 weeks to being home every week. So the juice was definitely worth the squeeze. And I know that I've had people ask me, what are you doing now? Are you still running the same run with FreightWorks? And the answer is no. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not seduced whatsoever by anything other than what I'm doing right now. I like going to the same exact place every week. I like seeing the same customers every week. I like being home the same days every week. And the money is steady. It's the same money every week. I'm not going to do like a paycheck comparison or anything like that, but every week before taxes, it's anywhere between $1,400 and $1,500 a week. At Millis, I would have had to do over 3,000 miles a week to see anywhere near that every week. Now let's remember, I was off 3 or 4 days at a time every 3 weeks. So that even if I was to hit like $1,300, $1,400 a week while I was out at Millis, my home time would cut steeply into that. So with this run, it's a steady, same check every week, same places. Every once in a while they give me a broker load, but the juice has definitely been worth the squeeze. The math comes out to be something like 76, 77, something like that a year. And I know it's not the most money that you can make driving a truck, but I've only been driving for over a year. And I know guys been driving longer than me that make less than that. And I'm not knocking them, because the opportunity presented itself and I just was blessed to be there for it. But, and as far as talking about my pay, I mean, what I'm telling you right now is nothing you couldn't find on the FreightWorks website anyway, or talking to a recruiter at FreightWorks, because I didn't get a special rate or anything. That's just what this run is. But I lucked out getting this run because there's a waiting list internally, like 5 or 6 people waiting for somebody to get off this dedicated run, because there's not but so many. Our other run, there's tons of openings. But with this one, there's only a total of, I think, 5 guys that do it. And of course, I'm one of them. So I implore with you, if you have a level of unsatisfaction where you are right now, and you feel like you could do something better somewhere else, or you see that there may be better opportunity somewhere else, just because you start there, not necessarily where you want to be, you positioning yourself for that next big move is paramount. And this account could dry up tomorrow. They could call me and say, Dole no longer wants us to run their loads. And that's going to completely end this for me. And I don't know how I'll react to that if it was to ever happen. But right now, I love it. I love everything about it. It's a weird sleep schedule. It's weird. It's a lot of naps here and there. It's a very tight schedule. And I know that when the wintertime gets here, it's going to be a little rougher. And you're probably going to see another video from me in the wintertime where I explain to you just how much it sucks. But until then, just know that my move was very helpful for me and my family. And it was kind of a blind move. Yeah, I had a friend that worked over here, but he wasn't doing what I'm doing now. And he just was like, they pay more than Millis and the miles are constant. That was my ultimate reason for moving to begin with. in hopes of getting more home time. So, not to make a long video longer, but what you're doing right now, is the juice worth the squeeze? Are you getting back out of it what you're putting into it? Are you putting enough into it to even expect what you want out of it? And that's something I would ask you to just do some soul searching about and figure out your situation. But until next time, drive on, driver.